talk to you. And can I just start by asking, after today's judgment, where are we legally?
Hi, good evening, Peter. Thank you for having me. Well, let's first look at Jacob Zuma's position. He is at liberty now if his legal team advises him and if they evaluate the judgment handed down today to approach the Constitutional Court in an attempt to overturn the finding today as well as the finding of the High Court, and to say that the decision not to prosecute him, which was taken back in 2009, was in fact the right decision and not an irrational one as found by the Appeals Court today. From the NPA's point of view, it is now, the ball is firmly now in Sean Abrams' court, and he must now ultimately decide whether he's going to institute the prosecution or not. It has been found by both the High Court and the Appeals Court in Bloemfontein that there is merit in the allegations levelled against Jacob Zuma, and it is the NPA's duty to prosecute without fear or favour. If there's allegations levelled against a person, there's merits in those allegations, and there's a reasonable prospect of a successful prosecution, they have no choice. They have to prosecute. Having said that, I do expect that if Jacob Zuma does not approach the Constitutional Court, he would most likely attempt to make further representations to the NPA prior to the matter going to trial. And this has been quite a big talking point after today's judgment, and that is whether he will be permitted to make further representations. Now, in practice, and I've done this on many occasions, before a matter goes to trial, the legal representation always have an opportunity, and the door is always open in order for them to attempt to convince the prosecution not to prosecute. So given the fact that obviously a lot of water has passed under the bridge since 2009, I think a lot of things have changed. Basic elements such as the availability of witnesses, further evidence that has come to light, evidence that might not be available still. All of these factors will have to be taken into consideration, and I do expect Jacob Zuma's legal team to once again make representations in an attempt to have the charges withdrawn.
So the man that's got a tough decision to make is the current NPA head, and their position was raised in the judgment today. But I wonder if the DA has given them, I think, 10 or 11 days to respond to them about prosecuting the president, and if not, why not? What might be the consequences for the NPA if they fail to take action?
Well, I think if they formally come out and place on record that they are not going to prosecute, it will obviously be met with a lot of opposition from, amongst others, the opposition parties such as the DA and the EFF. But not only that, if they do issue what we call a nolli prosecute certificate, and that is a formal declination to prosecute, then it opens the door for a private prosecution. And our law states clearly that if the state decides not to prosecute a person, then a private person or a private entity is at liberty to do so. In other words, they will make use of the resources of the state, in other words, the courts and the judges or the magistrates and the court staff, and then appoint their own prosecutors in an attempt to successfully prosecute the accused person. The same rules apply. It'll still have to be, the guilt of the person will have to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And if that is done, then the conviction will hold the same as if the state tried that person. So that is further down the line, obviously. I think, the DA, an ultimatum of 10 or 11 days might be a bit optimistic in my opinion. I can't see a court granting them the relief that they will seek if the NPA doesn't make a decision within that time. But we will have to wait and see. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the investigation has been completed. All the issues have been ventilated on numerous occasions and in various courts. And remember that these charges were withdrawn initially in 2009. Now, that's 8 years ago. So I can't foresee any further delays of a substantial nature from the NPA, and one would expect them to, if they decide to prosecute, to make that decision quite soon.
All right. Ulrich Roux, Director at BDK Attorneys, thank you very much for joining us this evening. So that